In the Sahel region of Africa, known as the Forbidden Death Zone, heavily guarded mountain installations conceal sinister and dangerous secrets from the world. Armed guards stand watch outside the facility before a mysterious assassin swiftly ambushes and brutally cuts down the sentries with a lethal combat knife. Moving deeper into the facility, the infiltrators express bewilderment at the lack of guards before tracking their target to an entrance door. The infiltrators open a security case and look down in horror as they realize the terrifying trap waiting for them below. Discovering a ticking time bomb with 20 seconds left, the mercenary desperately urges his companion to run away and escape. Refusing to abandon each other, both operatives scream in panic while desperately urging the other to rush toward the exit safely. As the digital timer finally strikes 0, the massive heavy doors slam shut right as the hidden trap detonates completely. Massive explosions violently rip through the subterranean facility, engulfing the area in towering flames and intense destructive force as chaos erupts completely. Dark web forums buzz with breaking news revealing that the legendary Wolf King failed his mission and blew himself to pieces. Emerging from a rocky cave, the revered Wolf King reflects on his survival after his loyal teammates sacrificed everything for him. While recovering from heavy injuries and deep meditation, his meridians break through to the legendary martial arts transformation stage. Now hiding his formidable identity in the mortal world, the former assassin walks anonymously while keeping a lingering thorn in his heart. Walking casually through a sunny urban courtyard, the disguised operative surveys his surroundings with a calm and confident expression. Approaching a taxi driver, the traveler asks for Huishan Tianyu Garden while chatting briefly about his out-of-town origins. Arriving outside the luxurious Feng Manor by taxi, the driver warns the mysterious passenger about the difficulty of claiming ties with the powerful family. Stepping out of the vehicle, the disguised operative casually mocks the elite family's joyous occasion while a nearby driver whispers harsh insults about his shabby outfit. Standing before the imposing gates of Feng Manor, the resolute hero vows to fulfill his father's dying wish before investigating past tragedies. 2 stern security guards block the entrance demanding an invitation, prompting the calm traveler to declare he is looking for Uncle Feng Wanming instead. Pulling out an old photograph showing his father, the young man watches closely as one of the guards notices a striking resemblance. Holding an old wooden box containing his father's medal, the young operative states that Uncle Feng will naturally understand his true identity. 2 security guards nervously accept the small wooden box, hurriedly promising to inform the master immediately, while the visitor calmly waits. At a grand outdoor engagement banquet celebration, Feng Yiyun tells her grandfather she remains a family member before Wan Jiming's father happily toasts. A panicked security guard abruptly interrupts Feng Wanming during the celebration, presenting a mysterious wooden box containing a special star medal. Upon hearing that the Jiang family has arrived, Feng Wanming and his family members express immediate panic and confusion over the unexpected timing. Learning of a childhood betrothment between her sister and Jiang Hao, a young woman urges her grandfather to intervene, while Feng Wanming rushes out. Rushing to the entrance, Feng Wanming joyfully welcomes Jiang Hao back, embracing the grown young man after years of being apart. Jiang Hao mentions to Uncle Feng that his father passed away 10 years ago from a relapse of an old injury. Overwhelmed with guilt, Jiang Hao explains how his father got hurt trying to save him, before reminding Feng of his father's dying wish. As Feng listens, Madame Feng descends the staircase, noticing the unexpected arrival and asking why the guests have come. Madame Feng introduces Yiyun to Jiang Hao, reminding them of their childhood connection, while both note how much each other has changed over the years. Feng Haoming bursts out angrily, accusing Jiang Hao of trying to freeload off the Feng family by clinging to his sister and her powerful fiancé. Uncle Feng furiously silences Haoming before turning back to Jiang Hao to solemnly reaffirm the arranged childhood betrothal as his father's final dying wish. Shocked by the revelation of his father's dying wish, Jiang Hao firmly declares his desire to call off the childhood betrothal. Feng Haoming angrily accuses Jiang Hao of hypocrisy and freeloading, shouting that he would rather be beaten to death than allow this. A weeping Yiyun desperately asks her father if he is really going to break her engagement to the Wan family for Jiang Hao. A tearful Yiyun angrily screams at her father, shouting that he does not deserve to be a father for sacrificing her happiness. Yiyun bursts into tears and runs away as Uncle Feng tries to calm Jiang Hao down, telling him to rest and let him handle it. Beneath the moonlit sky, Feng Haoming explains to his father that Hao's father died, saving his life, refusing to break his lifelong promise. An elder warns that breaking the marriage alliance with the Feng family invites wrath, but Feng Haoming insists he will handle the situation. Feng Haoming presents 3 strict conditions for the marriage, including a 3-month probation, no outside help, and a live-in son-in-law arrangement. Jiang Hao meditates in his room, expressing concern about troubling Uncle Feng before welcoming him in as he gets dressed. Jiang Hao calmly agrees to Uncle Feng's difficult live-in son-in-law marriage proposal, and a grateful Feng departs to make arrangements quickly. Jiang Hao watches him leave, knowing he only agreed to save face because he plans to leave the city soon. At the Wan family estate, an infuriated Wan Guofeng slams his desk upon hearing about the abrupt engagement cancellation just 3 days prior. Feng Haoming delivers the news that the Feng Group will pull out of the Angshan district project as an apology for the situation. Enraged by the insult, a Wan family member aggressively rejects the gesture, shouting that they will make the Feng family pay. Moving to an internet cafe, a customer requests a different PC while browsing an underground network portal. The user accesses an assassination forum and discovers a massive bounty on the Grandmaster Zhuo Yunbai for eliminating a corrupt heir. Shocked by the revelations on the screen, the young man stares intently at the computer monitor in utter disbelief. News spreads that the leader of the Wolf organization has fallen, and number 4, Sky Wolf, has taken over as the new leader. The protagonist questions this unexpected succession, realizing that after his death, number 2, Lone Wolf, should have taken command instead. Vowing to uncover the truth and avenge Red Wolf, he leaves his location to track down leads and familiarize himself with the surrounding area. A van suddenly screeches to a halt, and armed thugs approach him, demanding that he accompany them quietly into the vehicle. Confronted by thugs with a blade in a dark alley, Jiang Hao stays calm, hiding his cover and casually climbing into their waiting van. Inside the moving vehicle, Jiang Hao discovers a bound, crying female captive, and calmly asks the thugs why they grabbed him instead of demanding money. The van speeds through the night streets toward a luxurious mansion, where Jiang Hao steps inside to face a waiting meeting with powerful figures. Wan Guofeng angrily demands if Feng Haoming has found the kidnappers of Yao Yao, warning that they must prepare ransom immediately. Wan Guofeng's brother argues they lack 500 million in accounts due to major projects, suggesting they negotiate the ransom down. The brother fiercely refutes the careless attitude, asking if Wan Guofeng would react the same way if his own son Feng was kidnapped. Wan Guofeng slams his hand down in fury, shouting for them to scrape together 500 million, because money is just a worldly possession. A van pulls up to a warehouse as kidnappers pull Jiang Hao and a bound Yao Yao out into the dimly lit, industrial setting. Yao Yao screams for help until a thug removes her tape, prompting her to threaten biting her tongue off, while thugs laugh. The boss orders the thugs to get to work filming, leading them to set up a camera in front of the captives. Yao Yao realizes in horror that the kidnappers intend to film a murder to force the Jin family to pay ransom. Standing in the industrial warehouse, a bald thug smiles menacingly behind a camera and taunts, "Aren't you a smart little bitch?" Bound with rope, Yao Yao cries out in utter despair and desperation, shouting that you're animals and this is too cruel. Confronting his captor directly, Jiang Hao asks why they are going back on their word, only to receive a mocking response about hell money. Surrounded by laughing captors within the warehouse, a terrified Yao Yao begs for her life, while fearing they will actually kill everyone. Holding a sharp knife, the thug respects Jiang Hao's guts for not being scared, demanding all his money in exchange for passing on dying words. Agreeing to pay the fee for his last words, Jiang Hao coolly turns the tables on the thug by stating that the kidnapper will be paying him instead. As the thugs mock Jiang Hao's perceived stupidity, number 2 steps forward with a sharp blade and declares, "Then let me do it," boasting that even the king of hell trembles when he gets mad. Number 2 lunges forward to strike Jiang Hao down with his weapon. In a shocking flash of speed, Jiang Hao instantly counters the attack, fatally striking number 2 down, as Yao Yao watches in utter shock. Enraged by his brother's sudden death, the remaining thug pulls out a gun and threatens Jiang Hao before receiving a brutal counterattack. Dodging swift attacks with effortless grace, Jiang Hao launches a powerful high kick against the armed mercenaries surrounding him in the dark. Amidst flying debris and gunfire, Jiang Hao expertly evades incoming bullets while closing the distance to strike down his enemies brutally. Unleashing terrifying glowing red eyes, Jiang Hao corners the remaining terrified mercenary and slams him violently into the ground. Jiang Hao casually collects money before tossing his blade through the air to precisely cut Yao Yao loose from her binding ropes. After thanking her mysterious savior, Yao Yao reunites emotionally with her grandfather outside, while police investigate the warehouse crime scene. During police questioning about her masked savior, Yao Yao describes him as a short, chubby, middle-aged man in his 40s. A crescent moon shines brightly in the dark night sky framed by the silhouettes of tall forest trees. In her room, Yao Yao's grandfather confronts her about lying to the police, but she internally questions if her savior truly had sinister motives. Elder Jin summons a trusted subordinate to his side, strictly ordering him to take charge of protecting Yahello starting tomorrow without fail. Elder Jin strictly orders his trusted subordinate to investigate in secret to find out who killed the kidnappers and saved Yahello today. Utilizing advanced lightness skills, Jiang Hao speeds through the night streets and strides into the grand entrance of the Feng Manor. Feng Haoming angrily confronts Jiang Hao for arriving so late, but Jiang Hao coolly asks if the Feng family rulebook dictates a curfew. Feng Haoming defends Jiang Hao, while a relative insults him as a broke kid and warns that Jiming's godfather is Lord Lei. Feng Haoming attempts to calm Jiang Hao down, promising that he will do everything in his power to keep him safe from threats. Jiang Hao coldly responds that he is not afraid of Lord Lei and walks away, leaving Feng Haoming and an elder to worry about potential disaster. The next day, Jiang Hao arrives at Red Wolf's family residence to investigate, but questions why no one is currently home. Jiang Hao questions a local woman about Red Wolf family's sudden move and pays her to call him when a close friend returns. Walking through the empty streets, Jiang Hao wonders if this mysterious relocation is connected to the recent ambush on him and Red Wolf. Awakened early in the morning by an unexpected disturbance, an annoyed Jiang Hao reacts while lying in bed with his companion. Awakening in bed, Jiang Hao greets a bald thug named Changzi, learning that Jiang Hao's father's old comrade's son Jiang Hao has unexpectedly arrived in Wuling looking for trouble. Jiming confronts Yi Yun at a table, passionately urging her to reject her father's arranged marriage to a broke stranger and elope with him instead. Yi Yun desperately protests to Jiming that breaking her arranged marriage would ruin her father's reputation and values, leaving her as a public joke. Jiming makes a furious phone call, angrily ordering Changzi to execute Plan B while holding his phone tightly. Jiang Hao receives a frantic phone call in his room from a woman warning him that a certain girl has returned. Hurrying down the stairs, Jiang Hao tells Uncle Feng that he is heading out to take care of some important business. Stepping outside onto the street at night, Jiang Hao hails a taxi and tells the driver to take him to Puyang Road. Sitting in the backseat of a taxi, Jiang Hao realizes the driver and passengers are deceitful after hearing an excuse about picking up extra people. The taxi drives through the night streets of Wuling City before heading out toward a remote countryside road under a starry sky. Confronting the men in the car, Jiang Hao asks where they are taking him, only for the thugs to reveal their boss wants to see him. Arriving at a large upscale mansion, Jiang Hao steps out of the taxi and walks alone toward the front doors under strict orders. Jiang Hao steps through the mansion doors into a luxurious room where Wan Ziming and a bodyguard wait to confront him aggressively. Sitting comfortably, Wan Ziming mocks Jiang Hao for being Feng Yiyun's destitute fiancé, demanding to know why he was brought there. Wan Ziming angrily orders Jiang Hao to leave a finger behind and abandon the Feng family, but Jiang Hao calmly asks what happens if he refuses. Wan Ziming angrily tells Jiang Hao he refuses the favor and chooses punishment, ordering his burly bodyguard Qiang to teach him some manners. As Qiang prepares to strike, Jiang Hao realizes the opponent is Uncle Feng's driver and bodyguard Xiao Shu, who claims he was sent to follow him for safety. Despite Xiao Shu's warnings, Jiang Hao effortlessly unleashes immense power, easily overpowering and kicking Xiao Shu to the ground with a single decisive blow. Two imposing thugs tell Jiang Hao to follow them to the courtyard, where two men are already eagerly digging a large pit outside. Standing by the fresh pit, one thug taunts Jiang Hao aggressively, claiming that the path to heaven is ignored while the gate of hell beckons. As the muscular bald thug threatens him, Jiang Hao sighs, then effortlessly dodges and brutally strikes back, instantly knocking the attacker down with ruthless precision. The thug cries out in sheer terror as he is sent flying through the air, crashing hard into the bottom of the deep dirt pit before his shocked brother. As panic sets in, Jiang Hao ruthlessly overpowers his remaining attackers, sending another thug crashing forcefully into the deep dirt pit with terrifying ease. Looking down from above, Jiang Hao effortlessly dominates the courtyard, standing tall as his remaining foes are left completely incapacitated within the massive underground pit. Terrified by Jiang Hao's overwhelming power, a thug desperately shifts blame to Wan Ziming before brutally smashing a heavy rock against his own head in panic. Walking away from the carnage, Jiang Hao orders Xiao Shu to drive him toward Xiaoyang Road while leaving the other thugs behind. Arriving near a shopping street, Jiang Hao exits the vehicle and commands Xiao Shu to go ahead and stop following him immediately. Jiang Hao arrives at a residential alleyway at night, where an elderly woman sitting outside recognizes him and urges him onward. Knocking on a wooden door, Jiang Hao is confronted by a sharp-eyed young woman who initially denies knowing anyone named Sun Xin. Jiang Hao displays her brother's green jade pendant, shocking her into asking where he is before he claims her brother is abroad. Sun Xin greets Jiang Hao warmly, inviting him inside before growing anxious and demanding to know what happened to her younger brother Lei. A frantic acquaintance named Dongzi suddenly bursts through the doorway, breathless and stammering in sheer panic as he rushes to deliver terrifying news. Dongzi gasps out that Brother Lei got into a violent dispute over market monopoly with a ruthless rival backed by Black Panther. Outside under the starry night sky, a lone vehicle travels down the urban street as tensions mount around the dangerous new threat. Dongzi frantically explains to Jiang Hao and Sun Xin that her brother fell victim to loan sharking by Black Panther. The group arrives at the passion-flying bar, where an underground fighting match concludes with a brutal knockout victory. Inside the VIP area, Brother Bao and Lao Zhang discuss their expensive karate master before Sun Xin arrives with Jiang Hao. Sun Xin enters the room alongside Jiang Hao to confront Brother Bao about the debt, but the ruthless boss demands payment or severe consequences. When Jiang Hao calmly tells the thug leader there is no need for violence, the enraged boss mocks his audacity and brags about his criminal underworld reign. Unfazed by the threats, Jiang Hao boldly proposes a high-stakes wager to completely write off the debt inside an underground fighting arena. Inside the underground arena, the referee signals for the combat to begin as Jiang Hao faces off against his confident opponent. Launching a ferocious punch, the fighter attacks Jiang Hao while Sun Xin watches anxiously in horror from the crowd. Dodging the onslaught effortlessly, Jiang Hao unleashes a devastating aerial counterattack that leaves his opponent completely staggered and overwhelmed. Refusing to surrender, the bruised fighter screams in fury and charges again, but Jiang Hao remains completely unfazed and dominant. With red eyes glaring and veins bulging, the enraged fighter leaps aggressively into the air to launch a brutal aerial assault against Jiang Hao. Deflecting the strike with absolute ease, Jiang Hao delivers a devastating counterpunch that violently sends his opponent flying backward in a fountain of blood. Unleashing a relentless flurry of kicks, Jiang Hao relentlessly pummels the dazed fighter across the face and upper body, with incredible speed and power. Delivering the final crushing blow, Jiang Hao knocks his battered opponent spinning spectacularly through the air, high above the roaring underground arena. As his battered opponent crashes heavily to the canvas, Jiang Hao calmly asks if someone without qi and blood cultivation dares call themselves an expert. Sun Xin blushes in utter amazement, while a spectator watches the incredible display with a smirk, noting that it is not bad at all. Stepping forward with authority, Jiang Hao mockingly tells the defeated fighter to honor his promise, kneel down, and call him Grandpa. Wielding a knife and holding an apple while facing a gun, Jiang Hao declares he really does not want to kill anyone. Unfazed by the bald mercenary pointing a gun and threatening to send him to his grandmother, Jiang Hao casually deflects the violent attack. Jiang Hao effortlessly slices incoming bullets in half with his blade, casually holding an apple while completely dominating the armed attacker without breaking a sweat. The cornered mercenary leader screams in absolute terror as his cigar is sliced clean in half right against his chest by Jiang Hao. The defeated mercenary boss collapses backward in midair, fatally struck as witnesses gasp in shock at the sudden, brutal murder. Panicked onlookers stare in utter disbelief and shock as the powerful boss lies dead on the floor before Jiang Hao's calm gaze. Two terrified henchmen beg for mercy on their knees, claiming they were misled by Black Panther and pleading to spare their lives. Feng Haoming calmly proposes a deal to Jiang Hao, offering to cover up Black Panther's death in exchange for mutual assistance. The next day, at the Feng family residence, family members gather for a meal while complaining about ongoing tensions and absences. Holding a cup of tea, Feng Haoming angrily tells someone that if they have nothing to say, they should keep their mouth shut. Declaring he is full and going for a walk, Jiang Hao is stopped by Uncle Feng, who hands him urgent documents for Yi Yun. As Jiang Hao departs, a female family member vows to make him leave, while Jiang Hao arrives at Yuran Beauty Company. Entering the lobby, Jiang Hao tells an employee he is here for President Feng, thanking her as she directs him upstairs. Stepping into the elevator, Jiang Hao is suddenly confronted by a suspicious man wearing a cap and sunglasses inside. Jiang Hao notices the suspicious man in the elevator, recognizing him as the internationally recognized A-rank assassin known as Black Ghost. After the elevator doors open, Jiang Hao enters the office unannounced, causing an irritated Yi Yun to demand he knock first next time. Handing over the requested documents, Jiang Hao warns Yi Yun that Wuling is currently unsafe, prompting her to accuse him of narrow-mindedness. Jiang Hao abruptly stops a speeding red supercar before accepting a lucrative 1 million prize money deal from a driver named Haoming. Racing through winding mountain roads, the supercar arrives at a bustling outdoor circuit where Haoming introduces Jiang Hao to waiting acquaintances. Arriving at the circuit, aggressive rivals mock Jiang Hao, calling him a live-in son-in-law before he sharply snaps back at their taunts. An ally warns Jiang Hao about Lei Xiaohu, the formidable illegitimate son of Lord Lei, but Jiang Hao remains completely unfazed. The race officially begins as the countdown drops, with arrogant drivers like Tiger Hu and Jin Shixuan ready to challenge Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao leans casually against a sleek red sports car while onlookers watch the high-speed race unfold on the dangerous mountain road. As multiple exotic supercars roar along the cliffside track, a passenger panics and warns about Lei Xiaohu pushing his engine torque to the absolute limit. Heated arguments erupt inside the speeding vehicles as passengers realize the terrifying danger, leading Jiang Hao to forcefully push his companion back to take the wheel. Shouting in absolute terror, the terrified passenger begs Jiang Hao to stop the car as they dangerously drift around the treacherous mountain curves. As supercars drift along the winding mountain cliffside, a terrified passenger screams in panic, while Jiang Hao calmly takes over the driver's seat. Tiger Hu glares in his yellow supercar, plotting to make his rival crash and burn at the upcoming dangerous W-shaped turn. Inside Jiang Hao car, the passenger panics about drinking water near the hairpin turn, but Jiang Hao tells him not to worry. Speeding through the hazardous hairpin track, Tiger Hu expresses disbelief that anyone could possibly manage to overtake him in this tight space. Tiger Hu aggressively rams his red car against Jiang Hao's yellow supercar along the deadly cliffside mountain curve, trying to force a crash. Tiger Hu shouts in absolute shock as Jiang Hao manages to keep his supercar balanced and continues driving relentlessly along the dangerous hairpin turns. Tiger Hu's supercar violently smashes through the wooden safety barriers and plunges off the cliff, shattering his windows as he falls. Tiger Hu's yellow supercar crashes violently down the steep mountain slope after losing control, while Jiang Hao easily secures a triumphant first-place finish in the race. Sitting inside the car, Feng Haoming's cousin calls to invite him to a victory dinner with Brother Crow, and Jiang Hao reluctantly agrees to attend. Arriving at the hospital later, Tiger Hu's mother frantically asks what happened while her severely injured and bandaged son cries out in immense pain. Enraged by his son's severe injuries after the crash, Lord Lei swears to break the legs of the Feng family brat and kill Jiang Hao by morning. Arriving at the Jinghua Hotel for a dinner hosted by his cousin, Jiang Hao meets Brother Crow, who expresses surprise at his dramatic transformation. Feng Haoming suggests Jiang Hao raise a glass to everyone, but Jiang Hao casually refuses, stating he does not like drinking at all. Brother Crow furiously pours a massive glass of liquor himself, slamming it down to demand respect and challenge Jiang Hao directly. Brother Crow mocks Jiang Hao for ruining a marriage alliance, while Jiang Hao coolly questions the consequences before proposing a drinking match. Jiang Hao casually pours a massive bottle of gold rum, daring Brother Crow and shocking everyone with his fearless challenge during the dinner. Astonished onlookers panic, whispering that the bottle holds 3 gin of liquor, and questioning whether Brother Crow can possibly match Jiang Hao's drink. Brother Crow aggressively slams the heavy liquor and chugs it furiously before staggering and nearly collapsing under the immense intoxication. Brother Hao mocks Brother Crow's miserable failure, while an enraged Brother Crow coughs up alcohol and threatens to kill him immediately. Jiang Hao holds a bottle and coolly declares that Brother Crow is the one who asked for the drinking challenge. Brother Crow flies into a rage, swinging a heavy bottle violently before Jiang Hao ducks and smashes it straight into his face. Brother Crow crashes hard to the floor covered in broken glass, bleeding profusely as his terrified subordinates scramble and shout to call reinforcements. A companion warns Jiang Hao that Brother Crow commands hundreds of men, but Jiang Hao calmly continues eating and drinking without a care. Heavy doors crash open as heavily armed thugs burst into the private dining room, roaring for Brother Crow and demanding everyone clear the area immediately. Terrified associates panic upon recognizing the famous slicing king of Wuling, while Brother Crow orders his scarred assassin to mercilessly hack the target to death. The scar-faced assassin steps behind Jiang Hao to deliver a lethal knife blow, but Jiang Hao calmly catches the sharp blade barehanded with chilling composure. As Jiang Hao catches the sharp blade barehanded with chilling composure, the scarred assassin reveals a look of sheer terror. Trembling and dropping to his knees, Chopper Chen frantically begs Master Jiang for forgiveness, terrified of the lethal consequences of his ignorance. While Brother Crow desperately urges his men not to let anyone leave, Jiang Hao prepares to handle the unfolding confrontation. Panicking as his top assassin begs for mercy, Brother Crow furiously yells at his men, offering 1,000,000 to whoever kills Jiang Hao. Motivated by the huge reward, the henchmen ignore the danger, drawing their weapons and charging forward to attack Jiang Hao. With blinding speed and overwhelming force, Jiang Hao swiftly dominates the attackers, leaving them screaming in terror and pain. As his injured men retreat in defeat, a furious Brother Crow glares back with bitter defiance, vowing that this is not over yet. A news broadcast reports the brutal murder of a student, while a callous man in a bathrobe drinks wine and coldly criticizes the victim's appearance. The man answers a call from Soul Snatcher, who sharply mocks him for chasing women instead of completing his mission to find his brother Black Tiger's killer. Soul Snatcher reveals 3 S-rank Cole's family assassins have arrived to target Chai Chu Bai, warning the man to stay discreet, which he confidently promises to do. Black Tiger's brother answers a knock to find a henchman who greets him as second master and expresses excitement to finally see him. The subordinate reports that Jiang Hao killed his brother, prompting the vengeful second master to plot kidnapping Jiang Hao's fiancée to violate and kill her. Meanwhile, Jiang Hao walks through a bustling antique street and arrives in front of the grand entrance of the Longyan building. Jiang Hao walks through the spacious interior of the Longyan building while several other patrons inspect various ancient artifacts displayed on wooden shelves. Jiang Hao pauses in front of a framed painting titled The Green Pine by Wu Dynasty painter Zhang Guiyang. While staff and onlookers praise its magnificent quality, Jiang Hao suddenly points and declares the painting a fake, sparking outrage from the shopkeeper, who boasts about his centuries-old reputation of triple compensation. The shopkeeper vehemently denies the accusation, swearing his ancient shop compensates threefold and has never sold a single counterfeit item in hundreds of years. Jiang Hao insists on threefold compensation, demands the boss come down, and abruptly tears down the hanging painting to inspect it. The shopkeeper nervously claims the president is busy in a meeting, but Jiang Hao boldly states he will go up to find him directly. Jiang Hao barges upstairs into a restricted room where three men admire the painting, declaring he bought a fake from their shop and demands an explanation. An enraged elder vehemently denies the accusations, demanding the young man apologize immediately before Brother Chu takes the matter far too seriously and acts. Jiang Hao calmly tells the experts to reevaluate the painting, warning them of severe consequences if they discover their judgment was completely wrong. The experts inspect the artwork and declare it genuine, but Jiang Hao boldly challenges their limited knowledge and urges them to look closer at a specific flaw. Jiang Hao coolly points out that although the counterfeit painting looks extraordinarily perfect without a single flaw, real masterworks still retain natural imperfections. Outraged experts use a tenfold magnifying glass to inspect the artwork closely, finally realizing in absolute shock that the incredible copy has genuinely surpassed the original master. Jiang Hao demands threefold compensation for the fake painting, while the old man promises to fulfill his word without transferring funds. Jiang Hao inspects a 2 million yuan painting and accepts the old man's generous offer of friendship despite the remaining cost gap. Departing the shop, Brother Chu and the elder discuss Jiang Hao's exceptional martial skills and extraordinary naked eye perception. Returning to Uncle Feng's table, Jiang Hao casually pulls out another painting from Longyan building, prompting the elder to request a closer look. As Jiang Hao confirms the painting's authenticity, a tense older man angrily demands to know where he acquired the expensive item. Yiyun angrily questions Jiang Hao's funding source, but he casually explains that Brother Chu and Longyan building compensated him for a fake painting. Yiyun rejects Jiang Hao's claims and insults his character, prompting him to declare he is finished eating and calmly stand up to leave. A shocked companion shouts out in dismay, realizing the situation has severely escalated, as another associate declares he will never abandon Jiang Hao's father. Master stands in the museum room looking at an ancient painting, while Han Feng enters and addresses him respectfully to report on his findings. Han Feng tells his master that Jiang Hao is indeed the matrilocal son-in-law of the Feng family, prompting the master to ask Han Feng to do something for him. Han Feng confirms that Mr. Chu sent an invitation for the Feng family banquet, and when someone questions the reason, Han Feng sharply asks why they ask so many questions. Master questions why Jiang Hao is not at home, while Han Feng explains that the Feng family acted a bit too hastily in their behavior. Jiang Hao sits eating at a restaurant table when a suspicious character wearing a cap and sunglasses suddenly approaches him from behind. A suspicious man in a cap and sunglasses confronts Jiang Hao at his restaurant table, angrily asking how they should settle a score. Jiang Hao calmly turns around to face the intruder, who reveals himself as Black Panther and vows to make Jiang Hao pay tenfold. Interrupting the confrontation, Wan Guofeng and the Feng family arrive at the restaurant, accusing Jiang Hao of lies and tarnishing their reputation. Wan Guofeng aggressively demands if Jiang Hao considers them mere men after being slandered and hiding like turtles during the conflict. A blonde henchman loudly vows to teach Jiang Hao a lesson, leading a group down the alleyway as Jiang Hao calmly watches. Vans suddenly block the path as armed thugs surround Jiang Hao, causing the frightened woman to realize Brother Fengzi has arrived. Frightened bystanders whisper that Brother Fengzi, Master Lei's top swordsman, has arrived to seek violent revenge against Jiang Hao. Surrounded by armed henchmen in the alley, Jiang Hao remains completely calm when challenged by Brother Fengzi and calmly invites them to attack. Jiang Hao delivers a devastating, lightning-fast flying kick that brutally obliterates Brother Fengzi and sends him flying backward. Terrified henchmen desperately grab the heavily injured Brother Fengzi, shouting that they are no match for Jiang Hao and desperately screaming for a quick escape. Jiang Hao turns his back on the chaotic scene and calmly walks away down the urban street as his defeated enemies panic behind him. Standing frozen in absolute terror, the remaining thugs sweat profusely and drop to their knees, screaming that they will never dare cross him again. Jiang Hao walks out past the modern glass facade of the building into the sunlight, accompanied by associates going about their daily business. Jiang Hao knocks on the office door and enters, asking Yi Yun why she is asking what he wants from her. Jiang Hao warns Yi Yun that the situation is critical, but she angrily declares she will never marry him. Jiang Hao states marrying her was never his desire, while Yi Yun accuses him of emotionally blackmailing her father with guilt. Jiang Hao asks if she is truly that opposed to marrying him before swearing an oath and watching her sign. Jiang Hao signs the annulment agreement presented by Yi Yun, who quickly calls Jiming to happily announce that she has finally broken off her engagement. At a family dinner, Jiang Hao tries calling Yi Yun to check on her return, but her phone is completely unreachable, leaving him puzzled. Walking outside an upscale building, Yi Yun feels flushed and tells Jiming he forgot she broke off her engagement and can now go home. As Jiming embraces Yi Yun and expresses his desire to marry her immediately, she reminds him of her traditional wish to wait until their wedding night. When a mysterious man in a cap approaches and taunts them, he suddenly leaps forward with incredible speed to confront the couple directly. The intruder instantly shreds their clothing with precise hand strikes, leaving both Jiming and Yi Yun paralyzed and unable to move their bodies. A terrified Jiming realizes the attacker is using pressure points, while the masked man mockingly confirms that the young kid actually recognizes the technique. The scene shifts to the exterior of a dark industrial warehouse at night, where a car sits parked near the large sliding metal doors. Arriving at the dark industrial warehouse, the mercenary boss orders his underling to carry the two captured individuals inside. Dragged inside, Jiming regains consciousness, expresses shock at seeing Xiangzi, and learns he is considered an enemy of Jiang Hao. Furious at being called trash, Jiming boasts that his godfather, Master Kuai, is the local emperor of Wuling, demanding their immediate release. The mercenary boss instantly slashes Jiming across the ear with a knife, mocking his threats while blood streams down his face. Gripping Yi Yun with a blade at her throat, the mercenary boasts about murdering a high school girl, startling her. Bleeding and terrified, Jiming begs for his life, as the mercenary boss threatens him with a blade before turning his attention toward Yi Yun. The mercenary explains his plan for revenge against Jiang Hao, while Yi Yun and Jiming react in absolute shock and disbelief at the audacity. Laughing maniacally, the boss taunts Jiang Hao's perceived strength, hands a phone to Jiming, and orders him to dial his men for a rescue. Grabbing Yi Yun by the throat, the ruthless villain vows to violate her right in front of her companion to inflict maximum torment. The mercenary boss places a phone call to Jiang Hao, arrogantly boasting about holding his future wife hostage and mocking his weakness. Receiving the call in bed, a furious Jiang Hao immediately leaps through his window into the night sky to rescue her. Moving swiftly across city rooftops under the moonlight, Jiang Hao races at incredible speed toward the location of the captors. Inside the warehouse, the captives remain terrified, while the boss dismisses any hope of rescue, prompting fierce defiance from Yi Yun. Suddenly, the doors burst open as Jiang Hao arrives on the scene, immediately greeted by the alarmed shouts of the armed thugs. As Jiming claims his acupoints were sealed and he is fine, the captors express fierce anger and threaten retaliation against Haozi. The mercenary boss tells Jiang Hao to find his brothers and commands him to wait in the factory until they kill him. A henchman loudly rallies his brothers to chop Haozi and the ugly freak into cripples and tie them up. The henchmen roar and charge forward with raised blades to kill them, while the boss watches calmly. The boss smirks with a cold himph as he swiftly draws his blade for the impending violent confrontation. Jiang Hao faces the armed mercenary boss and his henchmen in the factory, remaining completely calm as they prepare for a brutal, violent confrontation. The mercenary boss charges forward alongside his henchmen, swinging weapons rapidly, but Jiang Hao effortlessly dodges and counters their vicious attacks with superior martial arts mastery. Two captives watch in complete shock and terror from the shadows as Jiang Hao swiftly dominates the battlefield and confronts the remaining enemies. The ruthless mercenary boss steps forward with a sharp blade, attempting to overpower Jiang Hao, but his vicious attacks are effortlessly deflected and countered instantly. Jiming and the helpless hostages watch in sheer terror and absolute shock as Jiang Hao coldly turns his attention toward them for the next phase. Jiang Hao arrives with a cold expression, declaring he is here as the mercenary boss watches from above. The mercenary boss mocks Jiang Hao for risking his life for a woman, while Yi Yun yells for Jiang Hao to run away immediately. Jiang Hao warns he does not want to kill, but the villain threatens Yi Yun and strikes Jiming with a small stone. The mercenary boss taunts that Jiang Hao's acupoints are unsealed, ordering him to strip Yiyun's clothes off until nothing is left. Yiyun questions if Jiming will really strip her clothes off based on the animal's demand, while Jiming sweats in terror and apologizes that second master will kill him. The mercenary boss commands Jiyoung to strip Yiyun completely naked before breaking Jiang Hao's legs, but Jiang Hao instantly counters, unleashing a ferocious counterattack that forcefully slams the villain back. Yiyun angrily warns the antagonist that she will snap his fingers off one by one, while watching in stunned shock as Jiang Hao proves his incredible strength. The mercenary boss taunts Jiang Hao about second master's carelessness, while terrified brother Jiang warns him that the small dagger cuts iron like mud. The mercenary leaps down to attack with his blade, but Jiang Hao effortlessly snaps the incoming weapon in half with his bare hand. Enraged, the mercenary boss lunges forward, but Jiang Hao instantly counters with a devastating punch that violently slams the villain straight into the wooden floorboards. Stunned by the overwhelming S-rank combat power, the desperate mercenary boss falls to his knees and begs Senior Jiang for one more chance to leave Wuling City. Jiang Hao coldly responds that it is already too late, prompting the defeated enemy to lash out in a desperate final counterattack. Screaming in panic, the mercenary charges toward Jiang Hao, who instantly delivers a brutal, devastating punch that shatters his opponent's defenses completely. Choking on Jiang Hao's grip, the desperate mercenary boss recognizes the infamous Wolf King from a news headline before being violently killed by a fatal strike. Standing over the defeated enemy, Jiang Hao ensures his true identity remains hidden while subcured thugs and grateful allies kneel and pledge their absolute loyalty to him. Standing over the trembling Feng Haoming, Jiang Hao coldly commands it is your turn, leaving the terrified prisoner stammering in absolute panic. Terrified and desperate, Feng Haoming pleads for mercy, claiming no enmity before Jiang Hao reminds him of Baldi Qiang and demands his last words. Panicking completely, as Jiang Hao looms near, Feng Haoming frantically turns to Yiyun, begging the startled woman to save him from impending doom. With tears in her eyes, Yiyun desperately shouts that if anyone wants to kill brother Ziming, they will have to kill her first. Standing over the scene, Jiang Hao coldly questions Yiyun if she truly believes a man like that actually loves her. Tearful Yiyun fiercely declares she believes in him, begging for mercy, as brother Ziming was allegedly forced into everything just to survive. Jiang Hao flashes a mocking smile as he looks down at the terrified Feng Haoming, whispering a sharp warning. Smashing a heavy hand down, Jiang Hao declares he will not kill him, towering over the shaking couple. Jiang Hao towers over a terrified Feng Haoming and a trembling Yiyun, declaring he will spare their lives as they bow down in sheer terror. Outside the building, numerous police cruisers surround the scene while authorities investigate the fallen individuals and secure the area alongside the gathered figures. Fang Yueying briefs the team about the factory massacre, while Grandpa Zhu deduces the killer has reached mid-stage blood and qi, corresponding to international A rank. Han Feng asks if the killer must be at least A rank, but Grandpa Zhu corrects him, warning that the killer has already reached S rank. Grandpa Zhu recognizes the killer's style and informs Fang Yueying that an S-rank murder case exceeds her team's capabilities, though Han Feng volunteers to help anyway. Grandpa Zhu sits across from a team member indoors, reviewing a document delivered across a table during their ongoing investigation. Shi Yinan, Dragonfang Task Force leader, discusses the deceased assassin known as Black Ghost, detailing his background. The discussion continues regarding Black Ghost's brutal reputation and his suspected involvement in the murder of a student from Wuling City's second high school. Shi Yinan takes a drink while confirming the details, noting that only DNA matching remains to confirm the identity of the inhuman monster. Shi Yinan and his associate analyze underworld rumors about 3 S-rank experts sent to assassinate Chai Chubai, realizing the immense chaos a single A-rank caused. Jiang Hao sits cross-legged on a bed in a traditional estate surrounded by glowing energy while his phone rings nearby. Jiang Hao answers a frantic phone call from Dongzi, learning that Sister Sun Xin and Sun Li have been kidnapped by the Nightmare Terrorist Organization. Jiang Hao walks outside toward a red car parked near the estate gates after finishing his urgent phone call. Yiyun stops Jiang Hao as he walks out, offering him a lift in her car and asking where he is going. Inside the moving car, Yiyun thanks Jiang Hao for not telling Uncle Feng about her killing those men, but blames him for her kidnapping. Jiang Hao firmly denies emotional blackmail and rejects $1 million card from Yiyun, while she urges him to stop his unnecessary stubbornness. Jiang Hao tells Yiyun that since their engagement is annulled, his private affairs are no longer her concern, leaving her stunned and blushing. Yiyun angrily defends Wang Jiming against Jiang Hao's criticisms, prompting Jiang Hao to furiously grab the steering wheel and cause a dangerous roadway stop. Jiang Hao sits calmly inside a high-speed train traveling across a bridge at night, while someone excitedly calls out his name. Jiang Hao encounters Shixuan and her arrogant cousin on the train, where Shixuan quickly apologizes to him for her cousin's rude behavior. Arriving at Jiangling Station, the group steps outside to meet a flashy racing investor who warmly welcomes Shixuan to the city. Arriving at Jiangling, the flashy racing investor warmly welcomes Shixuan while greeting Jiang Hao, introducing him as a friend met on the train. Jiang Hao abruptly refuses to join their banquet, warning the others that the mysterious man is up to no good before walking away. Ignoring the warning, the group gets into the luxury car and travels to a strange-looking specialty hotel in Jiangling to dine. Entering the specialty hotel elevator, Shixuan and Jin walk underground with Lu Ming while the doors close behind them. Exiting the elevator into a basement corridor, Lu Ming ambushes them, laughing wildly as terror grips his victims. Locked in the underground secret chamber alongside bound captives absorbing green energy, Lu Ming taunts the terrified newcomers about becoming mere bait. Lu Ming sneers as he tells the shadowy master that his natal Ju fusion has reached a critical stage, preventing reckless actions right now. Bound in the dark chamber, Jin Shixuan and his cousin regret ignoring Jiang Hao, while Lu Ming brags that the Jin family is mere ants. A prisoner trapped for over half a year reveals to the newcomer that escape is impossible because guards subject runaways to brutal torture. Terrified by the grim reality of their imprisonment, the captives break down in despair as danger closes in around them. In the dark underground prison, terrified captives weep helplessly while bound, with Jin Shixuan's cousin desperately crying out for big brother Jiang. At Qingzhou Mountain, Jiang Hao arrives at the sect gates, greeting his muscular eldest senior brother who explains that their master wandered off 3 years ago. Walking inside to the study table, Jiang Hao discovers a wooden box containing secret martial arts manuals and a familiar dragon-shaped jade pendant. Reading his master's emotional parting letter left on Qingzhou Mountain, Jiang Hao learns he must travel to Zijing Lake by June 20th. Realizing he has only 1 week left until June 20th, Jiang Hao resolves to solve his origin and rescue Sun Xin first. His eldest senior brother interrupts to invite him to eat, mentioning that members of the Nightmare Organization often appear near his old orphanage. Deciding to use this opportunity to visit his old orphanage after many years, Jiang Hao walks out of the building to investigate. Arriving at the brick-walled courtyard of his old orphanage, Jiang Hao walks through the gate while children play football nearby. Director Yanzi greets Jiang Hao at the orphanage gate, joyfully calling him Brother Hao and embracing him with tears after many years apart. Sitting together inside, Jiang Hao learns that Grandma Zhang passed away 3 years ago, leaving Yanzi as the director, and expresses deep sadness over her passing. A group of thugs suddenly kicks the door open, demanding they move out immediately, leading Yanzi to tell Jiang Hao she will handle it. Jiang Hao steps forward to warn an aggressive thug to leave within 1 minute, while Director Yanzi watches anxiously behind him. When a thug throws a sudden punch shouting, "Take this!" Jiang Hao effortlessly catches his fist barehanded, making him scream in agony. Jiang Hao releases the trembling thug, warning him that he spares them only to prevent blood on the orphanage. Yanzi warns Jiang Hao about a ruthless real estate consultant known as Third Brother who curses anyone who opposes him. Recognizing rumors of a curse as the Demon Gang, Jiang Hao coldly demands they lead the way to meet Third Brother tomorrow noon. Jiang Hao arrives at the location with Yanzi to confront the opposition, offering 2 million to the orphanage while dismissing rumors of any illegal activities. Visiting Auntie Yu, Yanzi introduces her childhood friend Jiang Hao, who has come alongside her to check on the situation regarding Lu Ran. Entering the room where Lu Ran lies in a mysterious coma, they meet the miracle doctor Zhou Jiyuan, who expresses bafflement over the patient's unique condition. Dr. Zhou explains he is powerless against the peculiar illness, but Jiang Hao senses a Miaojianggu worm instead of a curse and suggests treatment. Family members panic and warn against letting Jiang Hao use a knife, but he firmly insists on saving the patient and acquires a sterilized scalpel. Jiang Hao channels true qi into the patient's head, noting that the goo worm will not be able to withstand it. Jiang Hao cuts into Lu Ran's chest with a scalpel, successfully extracting a wriggling purple goo worm that caused the coma. Showing the extracted goo worm, Jiang Hao explains it evaded medical scans, while family members anxiously ask why Lu Ran remains asleep. Jiang Hao passes true qi into Lu Ran's head, causing him to wake up and surprise his family, leading to deep gratitude for Jiang Hao. Standing side by side, Yanzi and Jiang Hao discuss her gratitude regarding Grandma Zhang, while Yanzi admires his incredible transformation and martial arts skills. Arriving at Tianyang Tower the next day, Jiang Hao meets Yanzi and volunteers outside, while enemies inside plot to crush the orphanage's muscle. Stepping inside the dining room, Jiang Hao calmly reunites with brother Jiang, immediately realizing that both sets of siblings are caught in his hands. Jiang Hao calmly listens as brother Jiang arrogantly brags about breeding heart-devouring goo and controlling the orphanage demolition, prompting a smooth transition to drinking. Brother Jiang pours wine for the table, offering a toast while secretly plotting to introduce them to his boss, completely unaware of imminent danger. Jiang Hao notices the goo worm being planted in the wine, drinks it anyway, and aggressively challenges Brother Jiang, demanding to know what he will do. Jiang Hao calmly listens as Brother Jiang arrogant attempts to poison him with high-proof wine, leading to a sudden confrontation where the villain collapses. A grand ancient building towers overhead, before revealing the brutal scene of Brother Jiang lying motionless, with a glowing goo worm crawling from his chest wound. The menacing old man corners a terrified bound woman and man, threatening her with forced intimacy until a fierce bound captive yells out in enraged defiance. The villain mocks the terrified captive woman, asking if she truly wants to commit suicide before declaring he will take her away right now. The elevator doors slide open smoothly, revealing two calm figures standing inside a dimly lit hallway ready to step out. The bound woman screams out in utter panic, calling for Big Brother Jiang to help her escape from the clutches of her captor. The sinister elder examines the situation closely while the captives plead for help, discussing whether someone has a special yin nature physique. The villain throws the bound woman unceremoniously to the stone floor, while taunting another captive kneeling nearby, who shouts out in sudden anguish. Jiang Hao stares forward with glowing red eyes under dark hair, declaring coldly that he does not mean anything else and just wants to kill you. The enraged elder snarls back with fierce intensity, calling him an arrogant brat and vowing to turn his bones into putrid water. The terrifying elder unleashes a massive surge of swirling green spectral energy across the stone floor in a fierce display of hostile power. Jiang Hao swiftly dodges through the air with glowing red eyes, while vibrant green mystic energy streaks across the dark corridor walls. Jiang Hao fiercely engages the martial arts elder, dodging green spectral energy before slamming him forcefully onto the hard stone ground. Lu Ming cries out in shock as his master crashes into the storage shelves, while captives watch in astonishment. Walking past the wounded elder, Jiang Hao coldly warns the trembling Liu Ming that he is next. Spitting out a glowing goo worm, Jiang Hao towers over the battered master, demanding if he wants his 4 heart-devouring goo right here. Staring in complete terror at the exposed purple parasite larvae writhing on the ground, the horrified master gasps that he is a absolute monster. Declaring that his goo bug is dead, Jiang Hao mercilessly shatters the master's ribs with a fierce kick, causing a terrified Liu Ming to panic. Stepping forward on the stone path, Jiang Hao fiercely kicks a discarded blue can directly at his enemy's head, violently striking him. The battered captive gasps that he leads Nightmare and Hannon, but Jiang Hao coldly dismisses him and brutally strikes him down. Standing silently over his fallen enemies in the dark chamber, Jiang Hao surveys the bloody aftermath with cold composure. Jiang Hao exits the grand building with rescued hostages, telling the grateful survivors to untie everyone while others wait upstairs to assist them. Walking among the bound captives, Jiang Hao finds Shixuan and comforts him, assuring his companions that he has come to save them. Jiang Hao instructs a woman to take the freed victims to the hospital before heading off to confront the boss who bought the orphanage land. Jin Shixuan passionately begs Big Brother Jiang to take her along to Xiang Lake, boasting of her extensive geography, knowledge, and complete familiarity with all parts of Huaxia. Jiang Hao tells Jin Shixuan to go to the hospital first, promising to find her when he is ready to set off, leaving her overjoyed. Inside a luxurious corporate office filled with traditional artwork and fine furnishings, a heavy-set boss holding a teacup calmly awaits further developments. Inside a luxurious office filled with traditional artwork, a heavy-set boss named Wang Delong calmly holds a teacup as the door suddenly opens. Jiang Hao calmly steps into the office holding a door key, telling Wang Delong you must be Wang Delong right before demanding answers. Wang Delong angrily points a finger and shouts that Jiang Hao has a death wish after being confronted about the Chengxi orphanage land compensation. Jiang Hao strikes Wang Delong with lethal precision, causing the heavy-set boss to clutch his bleeding chest in agony and scream out loud. Holding a bloodstained knife, Jiang Hao calmly gives Wang Delong 1 minute to stop the orphanage demolition or face severe consequences. A furious Wang Delong clutches his bleeding chest in pure shock, vowing to make this audacious intruder pay tenfold. While Wang Delong frantically makes a phone call, Jiang Hao warns him to drop the call if he is contacting Lu Ming. Jiang Hao casually reveals that Lu Ming and Master Yang have already been sent down to the underworld, shocking Wang Delong completely. Terrified by Jiang Hao's lethal presence, a trembling Wang Delong begs for his life and hastily agrees to write the demolition stop agreement.